every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Christian Ogodo. In our top stories tonight, thanks for joining us, and in our now the news in full. As expected, none of the indicted ex-security chiefs in the arms deal scam showed up at the EFCC headquarters Monday. Journalists covering the case wanted to know and avail themselves to see the former security chiefs. Abiola Oluwole completes the story.
Bidding with inscription like this are spread across the nation. They are believed to be a product of illicit fund being investigated by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Recently, some former security chiefs were indicted by the committee set up by the presidency to investigate arms procurement for the military. They were expected to show up at the EFCC office for interrogation. These journalists are here to report the story of their visit, but they waited to no avail. As of the time of filing in this report, none of the ex-security chiefs had arrived and no information was given on the time and date of their interrogation by the anti-graft body. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Abuja.
An operative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Junaidu Saidu, has told the Federal High Court in Abuja that the petition upon which the former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswan, was indicted for 3.1 billion naira alleged fraud was based on an anonymous petition. Saidu revealed this when he was being cross-examined by Suswan's lawyer, Joseph Daudu, during the trial of the former governor. He also told Justice Ahmed Mohammed that the EFCC attempted to invite the petitioner through the address provided on the petition for clarification but could not trace the petitioner. Our judiciary correspondent Basil Okafo has more in this report.
The former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswan, and his former finance commissioner, Omodachi Okolobia, appeared in court on Monday for alleged corruption charges preferred against them. EFCC is prosecuting the duo on a 9-count charge of diverting the proceeds of the sales by the Benue State Investment and Property Company Limited when they were in office. At the recent trial, the prosecution witness testified that the investigation carried out by the anti-graft agency linked the accused person to the alleged crime. The witness, who was cross-examined by the defense counsel, Joseph Daudu, ever said the author of the petition upon EFCC carried out the investigation had identifiable name and address.
Of the investigating police officer. And you saw how long it took now, so there's no way one can recount which question happened and which question didn't. At the end of the day, we'll address the court on all those points, but I'm sure you people took long notes on the questions asked.
Among others, the witness told the court that the petitioner also alleged that Suswan diverted 6 billion naira ecological fund received from the federal government in the period of 8 years. attempts made by the Defense Council to tender a federal government judgment delivered in 2007 in Rivers State, in which the court held that the EFCC has no power to investigate the financial activity of the state government, was turned down by Justice Mohammed. In a short ruling, Mohammed held that he does not need to admit the judgment before taking a judicial notice of its content. The matter has been adjourned till January 19th for continuation of the cross-examination of the prosecution witness.
National officers of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have asked the acting chairman, PDP Board of Trustees, Bello Haliru, and the National Publicity Secretary, Olisa Metu, to resign from their various positions. The PDP deputy officers say the resignation has become imperative because of their alleged involvement in the disbursement of the $2.1 billion meant for procurement of arms and ammunition. The deputies, who also called for a thorough investigation of the party from 2012 to date, however, asked the acting national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, to revert to his position as deputy national chairman because of court's ruling, just as they declared the proposed national convention slated for March this year as illegal, saying that the tenure of the present leadership would end August 2017. And the federal government has officially launched its campaign against corruption and other vices which has stunted the growth of the nation. Speaking at the launch, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the cost of corruption to the nation's development is dire, adding that it will kill Nigeria if Nigeria does not kill corruption. Correspondent Kazim Kasali has more in our report.
The war on graft by the Muhammadu Buhari and APC-led federal government, according to the Information and Culture Minister, is a war for the soul of Nigeria. He says the president or his party are not on a vengeance mission, but a rescue mission to save Nigeria. He added that if Nigerians know the true cost of corruption to the nation's development, they will no longer be swayed by emotional blackmail. He gave these dire reports on graft in the nation, both public and private, from 2006 to 2013.
Between the period of 2006 and 2013, just 55 people allegedly stole a total of 1.34 trillion naira in Nigeria. That's more than 1/4 of last year's national budget. Out of the stolen funds, 15 former governors allegedly stole 146.84 billion naira. 4 former ministers allegedly stole 7 billion naira.
Going further, he called on the media and all Nigerians to back the patriotic duty of the war on graft. For him, it is a war that must be won, adding that the federal government will not fold its arms and do nothing in the face of unprecedented theft of the nation's resources, when those accused have not denied receiving money meant for arms for other purposes, leading to loss of lives by soldiers.
If you have stolen public funds, you will not go scot-free. Everyone and every arm of government must rise up to be counted in this epic war, and defeat is not an option if our country is to survive.
The minister concluded by reiterating the determination of the federal government to ensure that whoever has soiled hands in respect to missing public funds is brought to book. Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Senate says it will conclude deliberations on the 2016 appropriation bill by the end of February. Leader of the Senate, Aliu Ndume, stated this at an interactive session with journalists where he disclosed that soft and hard copies of the appropriation bill have been distributed to the senators. He affirms that the upper chamber will commence consideration of the bill as scheduled.
One of the first clarifications sought was on the nature of discrepancies discovered in the copies of the document reproduced by the presidential aide Itainan. And in his response, Senator Ndume explained that the differences in both versions of the proposal were not much. He maintains that the adjustments made are intent on maximizing profit on each allocation.
What the president submitted as a bill before the National Assembly is still the same thing. It's not like the budget that Mr. President submitted was, I say, like 6.7, or is it 6 point something? 6.08 trillion, right? It's not like the figure has changed or any of the subheadings therein have changed, but I think, and I have not seen it, there are some add-ups and distinct variances in some places. Like if a figure was given for 3 projects, I say, no, this is not supposed to be only for 3 projects. It can do 4 projects. So you say 4 projects to be done for so amount, but that amount remains the same. So what is the big deal, or what is the problem there?
Ndume, however, expressed concern over the hula baloo that continues to trail the 2016 budget proposal. He appealed to Nigerians to desist from trivializing important national issues.
Really worried, and all of you should be worried. Why are we, or as press of this country, stakeholders in this country, capitalizing and worrying about trivialities that cannot add value to the life of Nigerians, or even to you that you are talking about it? This budget that you are chasing and you say is missing, not missing. We say it's not missing. I am the Senate leader. I say, my brother, it's not missing. You say, hey, you said that's again, I want to ask you again. You said the budget is not missing. I say, is it not what you're asking me now? Why don't we talk of, say, if the budget is there, or as you know is there, you would want to know now what is the content of the budget, see what is there for Nigerians, do some analysis, what is agriculture getting, what is education getting.
On calls from the opposition to impeach President Buhari following the budget saga, Senator Ndume had this to say.
It's a joke, just because there is controversy as to whether a budget is missing or what is it submitted. You say, oh, impeach the president. I believe the call on the president for impeachment is because that is the thing that you can call on it. I'm not saying this because I'm one of the, I don't think I will apologize for that. I'm one of the ardent believers of Muhammad Buhari.
For now, the controversy surrounding the budget proposal may have been put to rest, but with the grapevine suggesting an official withdrawal of the budget by the presidency when plenary resumes, it appears the end is still far from sight. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has called on the management of the Nigerian Postal Services, NIPOS, to step up its game by launching new initiatives and programs that will ensure its continued relevance in an ever-changing and technology-driven world. He gave this advice when the acting Postmaster General of the Federation, Enoch Adeogun, and top officials of the agency paid him a courtesy visit. Correspondent Kazim Kasali has more.
The minister, while welcoming the NIPOS team to the ministry, says his ministry will work closely with its leadership to take the message of change to the grassroots. He added that NIPOS has a comparative advantage of being everywhere in Nigeria and that agencies of the ministry will work with the management to enhance its acceptability to Nigerians. He added that the organization should also step up its game to meet the challenges of an ever-changing and technology-driven world.
There are certain things that are still reserved for the post office. I think it is the lack of enforcement. We are not the only country where technology has, come to enhance services. In Britain, the post office still remains the largest employer of labor in Britain today. So I don't know why this cannot happen in Nigeria. I think it needs purposeful leadership, vision, and the government, we in government, we must look at the post office as a real avenue to create more jobs.
Earlier, Acting Postmaster General of the Federation, Enoch Adeogun, says he is in the ministry to solicit for the support of the ministry in its bid to take NIPOS to the next level.
We know the importance of people knowing what to do at the right time, and this is the basis of economic development anywhere in the world now. The world has changed from only physical is still there, to digital. And NIPOS, I call it the post, we don't want to leave ourselves behind. Years back, we have started thinking of creating telecenter all over the country. In fact, we have started remodeling some of our post offices. We reduced the counter and create internet section of the counter.
He says the management will always do its best to aid all programs of the federal government. Kazim Kasali, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Minister of Solid Minerals, Kayode Fayemi, has reiterated government's intentions to diversify the nation's economy. Speaking to the management of the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, who paid him a visit, the minister said the ministry will work hard to share information on minerals in Nigeria and to use them to the benefit of Nigerians. Jamil Afebua completes the story.
The NAITI team was at the minister's office to intimate him on the activities of the agency. Leader of the team and acting executive secretary, Dr. Oji Ogbonaya Oji, said the solid mineral sector should be incorporated into the scheme of government's developmental plans.
So we are aware of the enormous thinking that are going on in this ministry. We are aware of enormous work that are already commenced here. And we think it's important that NAITI visit the ministry to share information. Information and data that will help this ministry the ongoing reform.
Minister Fayemi, responding, said government is focusing on improving every sector of the economy through alternative sources of revenue, seeing as oil prices are crashing the world over.
Some of the work you have done, which you've presented to us, really points clearly in the direction of what we really have to do in order to increase the level of resources available in the sector. You've managed to expose in your reports the hidden revenue that is being generated that is not recorded, either in our inland revenue sources or even in our own ministry's royalty sources. So that is clearly going to assist us as we move ahead in our policy formulation strategy.
Nigeria is a country blessed with abundant mineral resources, but many of them are not known or their whereabouts recorded.
Founders, mineral all over every state in Nigeria, they are spread across the country. Some of them will have commercial bodies, some we also are aware of working closely with this ministry over the years. We are also aware that it's also
NAITI says it intends to legalize the activities of illegal miners in the country and harness their potentials for extra resources coming to government coffers.
We in NAITI call them artisanal miners. We are looking for a way, because these illegal miners, if you check them, they come back, they dominate the sector and they can no longer be ignored. We are looking at how, as has been done in countries like Ethiopia, where instead of calling them illegal miners, we can find a way to provide a neighboring environment that make their work look legitimate.
Nigeria is said to lose about 5 billion naira annually to activities of illegal mining. If properly incorporated, this will mean more revenues for development in the country. Jamila Fegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
In part 2, after the break, Lassa fever hits Ekiti State. Join us again.
For topical issues, Nigerians must have something to say.
Arms. We don't need arms for anything. Let them put it into education.
They need to buy another arms now.
What are they fighting for? Who? Government should deal with them squarely.
Please help us bring back our guests. No money, no markets. We are dying. Everybody is crying. Nothing.
Any man God support, no man stops.
It's a prophecy I believe he must have received from heaven. Yes.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, child looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. They don't put words into my mouth. Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute. I said to hell.
On Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody have the right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
You're welcome back, and you're on to CoreTV Primetime News. A reminder of the top stories. You can also follow us on our social media platform www.facebook.com/CoreTV News, and on Twitter at CoreTV News NG, YouTube www.youtube.com/CoreTV News. Ekiti State has joined states in the country hit by Lassa fever epidemic. The case was confirmed at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Ido-Ekiti, as a nursing student in the same institution was diagnosed with the deadly disease. Medical experts attending to the patient say she is in stable condition and have begun a contact tracing exercise to prevent further spread of the virus. Rashid reports from Ado-Ekiti.
Lassa fever outbreak in Ekiti State records its index case at the biggest health institution in the state, Federal Teaching Hospital Ido-Ekiti, with an 18-year-old nursing student being confirmed and another suspected patient already in hospital.
Only one case has been confirmed.
We've also seen a case of persistent fever currently in the Federal Teaching Hospital in Ido-Ekiti, who also coincidentally hails from the same school the first confirmed case came from.
With cases of Lassa fever being on the increase nationwide, with Ekiti joining the list, medical experts at the affected Federal Teaching Hospital Ido speak on efforts on contact tracing and curtailment.
Listed all the contacts and the health personnel that have had contacts, the nurses and all that. We have about 38 health personnel on our list, which we are following up on contact tracing right now. We also have 4 persons from the index patient's house that we're also following up. The state has been cooperating with us to help us to promptly take blood samples and send to IRA for verification of cases. So we're on top of the issue.
The state epidemiologist warns that all cases must be reported quickly to the nearest general hospital.
Early reporting of cases to the appropriate general hospitals around. If you see a person with fever, plus or minus sore throats, with or without sore throats, please let us see them. And you've treated them with malaria, for typhoid, and the fever is not remitting, please report such to the nearest general hospital.
With the new case of the deadly disease recorded in Ekiti State, the government has reportedly set up isolation wards, while all hands are advised to be on deck in checking its spread. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
Reactions have continued to trail the recent sacking of over 3,000 civil servants from 19 parastatals and agencies who are yet to reach their retirement age. Imo labor leaders and workers have condemned the act, describing the action of laying off workers without due process as inhuman. Our Imo State correspondent has the details in this report.
Imo Water Development Agency, IWADA, is one of the parastatals and few ministries involved in mass sack by the state government, which has been described as inhuman by the affected workers.
To me, what is happening is not supposed to happen, right? Because this man caused Rogers. Who are the people that make him governor? But now I want to sack all of us. Is this good? It's not good.
Emeto further accounts how the sudden retrenchment action affected his...
He is the one that make I have stroke. Because of my have stroke. Because of no money. To maintain my sickness. No money. For how many months? For 10 good months. I didn't receive my salary. It's just this December that we receive salary. Is it good for this government? It's not good.
One of the workers who pleaded anonymity pointed out how the governor's action negates his campaign promises of massive job creation.
That should be done. It shouldn't be creation now. It shouldn't be job creation. It don't lay off and bring up more. Because these other areas, as I can say, this by the status, our act, that's procedure of engaging people into state service. You don't even ordinary. I don't think even on the private areas or private business sector, you don't do it. That's procedure. I believe in the procedure of service does not mean remove the people there, bring in the new. Even if it's a retrenchment, there is a process in the retrenchment. Retrenchment is last come, first to go in retrenchment. And there is procedure. I believe that.
Diallo Chikodo, a one-time labor leader and now an active member, condemns the act and called on the government to exercise empathy and not cause unnecessary tension in the state.
Whatever you are doing, you dialogue, that will go a long way to settling the dispute. I think it is madness for any government for just not merely 2 days after the dialogue to come out and make a pronouncement of the suspension, sack, or whatever you may call it. Who are being laid? Who are going to be suspended? Who are going to be laid off? Are they not part and parcel of this state? Are they not part of parcel? Are they not Nigerians? Are they not workers? Why preaching another thing and doing another thing? I mean, that is what we are saying. The labor is standing firmly that due process must be taken.
In the meantime, the state labor union has directed all workers to go about their duties and discard the government's pronouncement.
The Civil Liberties Organization is calling on the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria to stand firm in implementing its policies on the foreign exchange market, particularly against the Bureau de Change operators and their strong-arm tactics and politicking in the foreign exchange sector. The media briefing by the Civil Liberties Organization is coming on the heels of the ban by the Central Bank of Nigeria that it will not fund Bureau de Change over the free fall of the Naira in the foreign exchange market. Our correspondent, Akin Obake, has this report.
The Civil Liberties Organization is raising alarm over the current economic position of the country, particularly with the status of the Naira to other currencies. Speaking at a media conference, President of the Civil Liberties Organization points out the position of the Bureau de Change and the level of financial administrative hole created in the nation's foreign exchange market by the black market operators.
These cabals masquerading as BDC's operators to us in the CLO have become blood-sucking merchants, heartless capitalists whose eyes are primed at exterminating the common man and are currently feeding fat on the misery and destruction of the entire nation as the Naira is continuously destabilized.
The Treasurer, Civil Liberties Organization, believes in how the federal government's economic policies of the present administration in turning around the downward slide of the Naira to create the much-needed growth and development.
The economy is in a standstill. They need to know that it is when the common man who uses 500 naira, 1,000 naira, when he has that little money to turn over, That is how the economy will grow. He does not need to get 10 million, 15 million, and so on and so forth. But as at now, everywhere you so dry, the common man does not have even the small money he was getting to turn over. At least, if you have a small business you are managing that gives you 300 naira per day or 500 naira, at least you are moving.
With the current market value of the naira at its lowest in the international foreign exchange market, Nigerians are expectant that the framework policies put out by the Central Bank of Nigeria will not only meet the set target of government economic policies, but help shoot up the value of the naira, even in the face of the fall of crude oil in the international oil market. Akin Obake, reporting for CoreTV News Lagos.
The drive to revamp the aviation sector has spurred the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, to organize a two-day workshop for stakeholders in the industry. This workshop seeks to train technical operators of the various stakeholders in order to ensure safety on the Nigerian runway. Our correspondent Sarah Ayeku in this report tells us what these stakeholders intend to do to guarantee runway safety in the aviation industry. Her report.
Safety on the Nigerian runway has over time been an issue that keeps raising dust in the aviation sector. I had the visit of a team of experts from the International Civil Aviation Organization to Nigeria in March. The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency has set machineries in motion to improve safety within the runways and associated airside facilities at the nation's airports. The workshop with the theme Runway Safety Go Team, Runway Incursion, Excursion, and Confusion is targeted at improving safety of air navigation within the runway and associated airside facilities at the airports. From the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, structures are being put in place to measure to International Civil Aviation Organization standard in March.
Every runway must have full complement airfield lighting. The program is on right now. The areas we are concentrating now basically are like Abuja and Lagos because of the burnt bulbs, not that we don't have. And then the other airports, like you go to Owerri, Yola, all of them, they're all there. It's just to upgrade them, okay? And priority has been shifted now to airside operations. And in the next 2-3 months, it will be a different story.
Speaking at the workshop, international aviation experts commend the federal government's policies, but want the various regulatory bodies to outline a formidable force.
Now we've not had any major accidents, but there are always room for improvements. And so the authorities in Nigeria have done relatively well. I'm Nigerian, quote unquote, by citizen. I've been there. I know the challenges they've had in the past. And we must compliment the leadership in Nigeria for the efforts that have been made, so that what needs to be done technically, if they have the information. So we need to see how they implement it.
There's obviously some let's say small deficiencies here and there, but this is part of what we do is attending these programs and partnerships with the various stakeholders, that we can certainly find out how can we improve them and get them up to a more international standard. So it's not like it's a severely deficient, it's just a matter of getting them up to a higher standard.
The establishment of runway safety teams was membership cuts across aviation agencies, airlines and security agencies. Their duties include regularly checking runways, taxiways, aprons and associated facilities to ensure that identified hazards are promptly mitigated. Sarah Ayeku, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Wahid Odushile, has condemned in very strong terms the assaults often meted out to journalists in the course of their duty. The NUJ president stated this while addressing the media over the recent assault meted against the journalist Yomi Olomofe, the executive director of Prime Magazine, by men of the Nigerian Customs at the Seme International Border Post. Odushile says the the Nigerian Union of Journalists as a body will not fold its hands and watch its members dehumanized under any circumstance. Victoria brings us the report.
The battered face of Yomi Olomofe, a Badagry-based journalist and publisher of Prime Magazine, by officers and men of the Nigerian Customs at the Seme Border Post, who was performing his lawful duty. In a democracy, such barbaric treatment of a citizen on his lawful endeavors will not be tolerated, and that is why the Nigerian Union of Journalists as a body has risen up to the occasion to seek justice in a competent court of law over the inhuman treatment of citizen Yomi Olobofe.
Security agencies, agents of government, one guys or the other, come forward each time to, I don't know whether they want to vent their spleen on journalists or to actually, or vent their anger, to speak, on journalists for trying to do our own work. So like until the court makes a pronouncement and punish whoever is responsible, this thing will continue.
Still haunted by this traumatic experience, citizen Yomi says his life is in danger and calls for protection while seeking justice.
There is no preparation that has equipped me for what I went through on the 25th of June 2015. It is a harrowing, horrific, horrible experience when upwards of 15 men are upon you and they are telling you to your hearing, and as you are fading out, losing consciousness, they keep repeating that you must die that day.
And for the legal team, who are lawyers of the petitioner, there is a deliberate attempt to frustrate this case by the accused person.
We will pursue the case and ensure that justice is served to Mr. Olomofe, to the NUJ. But much more than that, that the right of the journalist to the dignity of the human person while plying his trade is given respect.
The NUJ president has, however, called on the government to help secure the lives of journalists and has urged journalists not to be discouraged, that justice will be done on Yomi Olomofe's case, and journalists will be given the right to express their fundamental human rights. Victoria Solomon, CoreTV News, Lagos.
When we return, 4 worshippers have been killed in a suicide bombing at a mosque in northern Cameroon. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
4 worshippers were killed in a suicide bombing at a mosque in northern Cameroon exactly 5 days after a similar attack left 12 people dead. The blast hit the village of Ungwetohewe in Cameroon's far north region, in an area near the border with Nigeria, regularly targeted by Boko Haram jihadists. Security sources say the suicide attack was carried out by a young boy who arrived at the village by foot and carried out the bombing around 6 a.m., just as morning prayers were ending. And at least 1 person has been killed after a rocket landed near a school in southeastern Turkey, close to the Syrian border. The rocket was reportedly fired from Syria and hit a school garden in the border province of Kilis, with at least 1 other person wounded. The person killed has been identified as a female school cleaner. We'll take some sports stories now. Elvis Chisom Chikatara completed a deserved hat-trick to guide Nigeria to a 4-1 emphatic victory over Niger in their Group C encounter at the ongoing CHAN 26 competition in Rwanda. Chikatara, who replaced the struggling Temitope Babatunde in the second half, found the back of the net within minutes of coming on to double Nigeria's lead in the 73rd minute. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Ajay Adebayo pulled one back for his side with a screamer with his left foot from 30 yards, leaving Nigerian goalkeeper Ezenwa Ikechukwu with no option to save his shot. However, Chikatara's persistence saw him complete a hat-trick in the 92nd minute after Okoro sent him a through ball to wrap up the game. Swansea City have appointed former Udinese manager Francesco Godolin as their new head coach. The Italian will have the final say on selection while working alongside Alan Curtis, who had been placed on interim charge until the end of the season. Swansea, who sacked Gary Monk last month, are on the 18th position on the Premier League table and are trying to avoid relegation. And before we go, here are the top stories again of our main news highlights. That's news on Primetime News tonight on CoreTV. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I am Christian Okoto.